Hello everyone, welcome to my channel after a long time. And today I'm here to share an update of my planner and journal system. Of course, it is known as an ecosystem now, I guess. Nevertheless, I wanted to speak about it because most 2026 planner launches are starting around these days. And I know that everyone has to make decisions, so I thought I'd give you an idea of how I feel about my current lineup. Now, let us begin with this one. This is a planner you might have not seen in my initial lineup simply because I had not ordered it then. But I had told in my video that I order my work planners late. This is my work planner. As you can see here, it is the Erin Condren teacher lesson planner in the softbound version. The teacher lesson planner for some reason just suits perfectly for my work purposes, and I have been using this for a number of years now. And the one year that I tried to avoid using it and went to Hobonichi, it was a complete failure. So you will always find me gushing about this planner. Now, I prefer to start in April for work, so April to March. And sadly, other than Hobonichi, I do not know, any planner companies that offer an April start. And Hobonichi does not have the layout that I want. So I have to, usually redate entire planners, teacher planners according to what I need. Now let me just show you the layout, even though most of you may be already familiar with it. So this is what it looks like. I kind of need this, box system for a day where I can divide my work, as into the different boxes. Now there are six boxes here vertically, but I just need around five boxes. I don't need six. But at the same time, I'm glad that six is there because if I want to add something, I can still use the sixth box. But just letting you know, generally the bottom part, not always used, but yes, the first five definitely used and filled up. And what I do over here is that even Saturday, Sunday, they don't go blank. I actually use them for some of the other additional notes. Generally, this side, I don't really use much of it. It depends. Once in a while, I kind of use them. But the other spreads, let me just show you some of them. So as you know, that they have the basic, monthly spread, and of course, where is the dashboard before this dashboard. Now, of course, it is all suited for a teacher planner, but I make use of it in my own way. And there are, of course, checklist pages at the back and other additional spreads. I ignore the ones that I don't want at all. I don't really tear them off or do anything with them. It is just there. On the other hand, I convert the others to suit my needs, and it is not much of a work. Frankly, this year, with EC releasing this vertical version, which was not really there before, things have turned out so well for me that I had to redate only 3 months. Usually, I have to redate the whole year. And you will always find me, praising this planner because it just suits my work. Now, this year there was only one cover available, option available. I hope they will continue to offer, more options next time. And I went with this, which has gold foiling. I'm not a gold foil person, but I had no other choice. And this cover surprisingly worked out quite well for me. I think it, goes along with what I had in mind for my planner. Thankfully, it was somewhat of a neutral cover, and I don't really like, way too loud designs for work. I like it simple for work generally. So this worked out fine for me, and I hope they have, similar neutral designs next year. Of course, some things I can't really avoid. They will probably print all of these and have the gold foil going on next year as well, but that is fine. I am so happy with this planner. I have no other words for it. In case this is something you prefer for work, it is definitely a good idea. But at the same time, I understand that most people have extremely tiny planners for work, like a Hobonichi Weeks. Maybe you don't need this much of space, and that is fine as well. This is extremely huge. It is 8.5 by 10, I think, and this is the softbound version. They have obviously coiled and other versions going on. I hate coils. I can't, I tried using them, but I can't really work with coils or rings. So this is what I went with. And yes, I'll stop now. I'll just go ahead to the next planner. Okay, so this was my work planner. Now the next planner I have to show you is, of course, my main planner. Oh my god. Okay. My main planner is the Hobonichi Weeks. Okay. It's a little bit messy. As I've told, I'm not really the neatest person in the world. And interestingly, you will see this happening because it is always flat open on my desk. And because of this, right now, you will see this issue happening a bit as such. So I'll just show you one spread to, just give you an idea of how I use it. So this is the current week. So the left hand side is divided into three sections where I have my habit tracking, reading, and then of course any meetings or appointments going on. Right hand side is for a rolling weekly sort of where I have my task list, and then I tick off, and then of course mark which day I have actually completed the work on. If I don't do it, it's just a cross. That's about it. So this is very basic and it has worked out wonderfully for me. I was actually surprised by this because there are, of course, different spreads and I've been using all of them effectively. Uh, this is surprising that it worked out because it was my first year with the Hobonichi Weeks as my main planner. I have been using the A5 size for a long time and I was really worried about how it would turn out. But surprisingly, it was a complete success. I think except for a short period of time in the first half of the year, I have been using this planner quite effectively, and I'm quite happy with how things are going. In fact, I can't believe that the next planners have already launched or are launching soon. So I don't even feel like abandoning my current ones right now. So pretty going well now. What am I saying? Going pretty well. Anyway, let's go ahead to the next thing. So the next thing I have is my journal, of course. So this is the Hobonichi A6 original, and it is the basic one, basic cover in a leather cover. So I hate it. Okay, not the planner, the cover. The planner is wonderful because it is just a memory keeping book for me. I cannot really show it to you this time because this year has, a lot of personal things in this book. A lot of things have been happening over the past few months, many good, some bad, and that is why I've not even been uploading videos. But nevertheless, have been it has been working great. To give you a brief idea, the dailies are for memory keeping. I journal about significant highlights of the day, and I'm a person who doesn't use photos. I know most people would use photos in their memory keeping journal, but I have never been a photo person. Maybe in the future that would be something that I would try out, but so far, no, not happened at all. Then, as far as the monthlies are concerned, again, major events, anniversaries, anything important that has happened that I can quickly track over there. And of course, the yearly section, I use it as an index for the dailies. Now, the only section that I've not used effectively is the index because I've been a little lazy in filling it up, but I'm not really bothered because usually at the end of the year, I just go ahead and complete it. It doesn't take much time. And of course, the memo pages at the back is my sort of library or, to be read section. And that has also been going well. So this has largely been going well, except for the index section, which is not a huge issue as such. So again, surprising because A6 was also new for me. I've been using the Hobonichi cousin for such a long time that I was worried when, I have so many planners going on, it would overwhelm me and I would not really use it because it has happened before. And shockingly, it turned out pretty well. So let's go ahead to the next thing. So, this was what I had chosen as my church journal, and it is not a planner because I don't really plan on it as such, but I will give you a brief idea of how I use it. Now, was it a success? Yes, because simply like the work planner that I showed earlier, the church journal, I have been using my Hobonichi Weeks for a few years, not as much as the EC planner, but I've been using it for a few years and it has been going well. So, I can see, this continuing for several more years in the same manner. Now, this year, what I've done, I will just show you a spread, an empty one. Yes. Okay. So, just to give you a brief idea of what I do over here, the left hand side, as you can see, is a reading plan that I've set up way beforehand for the entire year. And on the right hand side, I will make notes about the message that I listen to on the specific Sunday that falls on that spread. And this blank space that you see on the left hand side, it does not stay blank. I use a blue ink pen to write down the prayer requests that I hear in church that day. Now keep in mind that sometimes it stays within the spread, sometimes both of these things may cross, and I really need more space. That is when I use the memo pages at the back to write additional notes. Other than that, the memo pages at the back are also used for me to take down notes when I attend weekday meetings whenever I can. So that also gets used up in some or the other way. Now, the monthlies are for taking down all the events, important things that are announced in our church. Not that I attend all of them, but I would like to know when they are. So, in case I can at any point, I can, just look at it and attend. So, yes, a little bit of planning as such, but not really something that I would call a planner. And this, frankly, I have been using quite well this year, and I can see myself, completing it quite successfully this year as well. So I have loved using it. It has been going well. I have been using it without a cover, so as you can see, it's a little messy. I don't mind because I don't really store this planner, so I would love to feel the texture of the cover rather than put a clear cover on it. And what will happen is that anything that is important in this book will be transferred to my memory keeping journal, which I will store for later. Now, coming to the last book, the last thing that that I have, is a Hobonichi Weeks again, which you might have seen at the beginning of the year as an extra planner. I did not know what to do with it, and I ended up using it as my budget planner. Now, a budget planner would be a wrong term, frankly, because this is the first time I'm actually using a planner for it. I usually used to do it on my laptop, or someone else used to deal with all of this. This time it is just a trial version. Since I had an extra planner, I thought I'd go and give it a try as such. And also, there have been significant changes in my workplace that made me think, to start working on this from now on. Nevertheless, I'll give you a brief idea of how I use it by showing you a blank spread. Okay. So this is the setup that I usually have for every week. So the left hand side is where I write down the expenses, daily expenses, the details as well as the amount, and then I leave a little space on near the margin so that I can categorize it into one of these three. So I will highlight the color, and then based on that I will add up the numbers over here, and then what will happen is that, okay, have I missed out something? Yes. This section is to total up the dailies as such. Okay, how much I have, on a spent on a day on a daily basis. Now, this entire information, once I finished all of it, on a weekly basis, I add the total expense to the monthly spreads as such. I don't really use a lot of the space in the monthly spread. I just add the weekly expense there, and a certain section of the monthly spread, I use it to write all the necessary information, like different sources of income, how much I'm getting, any refunds, cashback, then credit, or the balance that is remaining after all my expense, so all of that information. Now, this space that you see here, that gets used for any other additional information. For example, sometimes I buy from certain shops and I don't really have much space to write the details over here. So I write the details over here so that I'm a little more aware of where my money is going. And the memo page is at the back. The memo pages at the back, I have frankly not used all of them. Only about, I think, maybe 25 pages are being used. A lot of them are going unused because I don't really have, clear plans on how to go about it since this is my first year. So what I do with the 25 pages that I mentioned is very simple. I have divided the pages into various categories. So, for example, aquarium, stationery, skincare, so that by the end of the year, I know how much I'm spending in each category. So, obviously, I update it every month depending on how much I'm spending on a monthly basis as well. So, the actual budget planning will be taking place next year based on the information I have gathered this year. Uh, I feel it is quite a good success, I would say. It has been, quite good. The only thing that I feel sad about is the empty memo pages at the back. Otherwise, I have been using it quite well. And also, as I told earlier, the monthly spread, the boxes don't really get used up. So even that space is a little empty. Otherwise, I'm not really disappointed or upset with how this has been going since it is my first year. And I think I will definitely improve the system by next year. So we'll see how it turns out. So this was my entire planner and journal system, and I have been quite shocked by how well it is going, because the sheer number of planners and journals that I have this year are quite shocking, because they are quite big. Okay, I don't really usually have more than three. Three is my usual number. Okay, this doesn't even stay closed. So three is the usual number that I have, but this time I have five, as you can see over here, and crossing three always scares me. And there are certain negatives that I will bring up in my next video. It is not about using them. It is about a certain number of other things that I will bring up in my next video, simply because that has affected my choices for 2026. I have already decided what I want for next year, but surprisingly, it won't be this lineup. Even though I was all praises for it, it is going to change for next year. So see you all in my next video. Bye.